down on the full clutch. This shook, scared of the flex. Gotta check, run it up, I'm next. Savage, attitude so lavish. No surprise that they call it magic. I'm the best and I set the tone. Big talk cause I'm in my zone. I'm the proof that hard work pays. Now I'm born and I did it my way. We don't play, nah, we don't play. HOV lane, no stops, no delays. We don't play, nah, we don't play. Yes, I'm the visual and I never play. Kissy lips, bite my hips, sugar, get that kiss. Push butts, make you trip, savor every kiss. Lips, rock my hips, sugar, get that kiss. Taste buds, make you trip, savor every kiss. We don't play, nah, we don't play.
All right, friends, it's Team Man. We're back with a new video. It's on Renaissance periodization. Mike Israetel. That's right. The gym, lifting, recruiting, fitness gear slave himself are going to react to his video. So Mike Israetel says the end of fitness, gene editing for huge muscles is coming. I don't think so, man, because I know people that tried that and just didn't work out. I don't know. Maybe it will. Who knows? I myself own a CRISPR kit, but I don't know how to edit the gene to keep growing. And what if you keep growing and you never stop or something? I don't know. You commit suicide and die. That's why muscles are post-mitotic. They're a reason why they're post-mitotic.
I predict that folks with lower tier fitness goals lose a few pounds of fat, gain a few pounds of muscle, if they can get almost everything that they go to the gym for from a pill, then they can just do fun physical things like hiking and biking and swimming and hanging out with their families and be 100% as fit as they would like. That's happening. It's gonna start happening big time within the next 5 years. This genetic revolution will allow almost everyone that wants it to have the strength and aesthetics that they like overall with precisely zero.
So everybody's gonna be the same, is that it? What kind of world is this then if everybody's the same? The idea is that not everybody is the same. That's the point. That's what makes it interesting. But okay.
Training. Hey folks, Dr. Mike here for RP Strength, and I'm going to tell you something crazy today. Well, I do say a lot of crazy stuff. I think fitness, in the way that we understand it, has something like 10 years left to live. And so I'm not that smart. And so I need to put things in my own head in a way that I can understand them. And the best person ever to do that before me was Forrest Gump's mom. That's right. Do you guys remember that shit when little kid Forrest was like, "Mama, what's vacation mean?" And she was like, "It's a place you go and you never come back." And he was like, "Mama, is that where Daddy went? And is that where fitness is going in about 10 years?" And from what I remember in the movie, now my recollection of Scott is kind of hazy, but I think she was kind of like, "Now, honestly, Forrest, Mama's been so goddamn tired of this shit for so damn long. Your daddy was an idiot, clearly. That's how come you're around. And he left us for another woman. But yes, technically, it's not unlikely that fitness only has 10 years left." That's how I remember Forrest Gump. No, wait, hold on a sec. What did I just say? Fitness has only 10 years left. Listen, Dr. Mike, if that's what we're going to call you, your Forrest Gump impression is honestly mediocre. Please, just cut to the chase. All right, very well. Couple points to make the point. Point number one. How the hell do I get to 10 years of fitness remaining? Nearly every body change that you have occurs because your genes produce more or less, signal the production of more or less proteins as a response to exercise training. For example,
I love this. Signals less proteins. Nearly every body change you have occurs because your genes produce more or less of some proteins as a response to exercise training. No, they don't. Exercise training opens a window for protein synthesis and a window for protein breakdown. You're breaking down proteins is what you're doing. Now, if you don't replace those proteins that are being broken down, that you broke down in the gym, and even exceed that, You're deteriorating faster than you're aging. You're deteriorating faster than you're regenerating. That's the problem with the gym people. They go to the gym, they work out, they're breaking down proteins, and then they're simply not in positive nitrogen balance anyways to begin with, because they're all eating the slave food peasant diet, and then they're trying to put back these proteins, and guess what? Yeah, you're never exceeding it. That's the problem. And so you're deteriorating faster than you're regenerating. That's the issue. That's a big issue. That's why you have these people look old from training. They go to gyms, they work out, and they look wasted. They look old because they don't understand. It's the opposite. You need to be in an anabolic growth state in exercising, and that because the progenitor cell comes out, can utilize these proteins, and it can regenerate you. But you're not all focused on that. You're all busy lifting weights, thinking that the weights have magic powers, and then you're eating just garbage. You're not even concentrating and going to fast food, doing whatever, just eating shit, and your negative nitrogen balance, which is you're catabolic.
When you train, myostatin expression goes down. Myo means muscle, statin means stop or block. When less myostatin protein is being produced by the...
Not necessarily. If the satellite cell is activated, then they cannot occupy the same space, myostatin and the satellite cell. See what I mean? Yeah. Or maybe hypoxia, a hypoxic event.
Signal to being produced by the genes that create the myostatin protein. You get less myostatin protein, guess what happens to your muscle mass? It's blocked less, it goes up. That is one of...
Okay, myostatin goes up, now what? See what I mean?
The core reasons why you gain muscles from resistance training.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Man, it gains muscles because protein synthesis outpaces protein breakdown. He's full of shit.
As a matter of fact, there are proteins inside of your muscles that detect mechanical tension and probably a few other things like...
So what? If there's not enough protein coming in and more broken down, you're not going to build jack shit, dude.
Fatigue byproducts. When the mechanical tension is detected, it doesn't grow muscle. That protein has a signaling cascade of other proteins and molecules that ping from one part of your muscle cell to the other until the last part of that signaling cascade ends in something like the proteins that actually produce the machinery of your muscles. It's genes and proteins all the way down, including from effector modulators like mechanical tension itself.
Then why aren't people building muscle every time they lift a weight then, if that's true?
Introducing the all-new
Tension itself. So you don't actually need mechanical tension to grow, theoretically. You just need the end of that cascade line of molecules to flip into one direction versus the other, and then muscle growth results exactly like it would if you presented tension itself.
So it just will magically grow from thin air, or your very low slave food caloric diet, which is not even a high nutrient diet, just like calories, garbage food in and garbage food out.
In addition to that, when you tense up your muscles and your tendons get a lot of tension through them, that increases the expression of proteins, sometimes collagen, sometimes elastin, sometimes others, that make your tendons bigger and stronger. It's all
they do, does it? Makes it bigger and stronger. What if there's not enough protein coming in to build it? Will it make it bigger and stronger? No. That's why none of you are getting bigger and stronger.
Proteins all the way down.
Yeah, proteins all the way down, but you're not eating enough proteins because protein synthesis needs to outpace protein breakdown. It has nothing to do with I need 100 grams or 32 grams of protein is going to build a muscle. It does build muscle, and muscle needs to be micro-torn. There has to be some micro tears in there in that muscle. I don't know. It could be a minute amount, medium, high. Depends. Depends on what you're doing there, man. You know, you could get very low level micro tears, but that'll take you forever to build muscle. So sometimes it just says, you know what, you just keeps repairing and there's no growth, and you're not even eating enough protein.
And over the next 5 years, this has already begun. We will hit a tidal wave, which is technically an outdated term. I know it's tsunami. It's not caused by the tide. Of drugs that modify the effect of these proteins that are involved in exercise to great extents already. Drugs currently in testing like azelaprag and garetosmab modify protein activity at receptors that modulate exercise responses like mitochondrial proliferation, which gives you a bigger gas tank, fat burning, and muscle growth.
Man, this guy's full of shit. It's not going to give you any of those things if protein doesn't outpace protein breakdown.
When taking these soon-to-be future mega drugs that do a lot of what exercise does except by you just taking a pill, I predict that folks with lower-tier fitness goals will no longer have to go to the gym at all. What do I mean by lower-tier fitness goals? Lose a few pounds of fat, gain a few pounds of muscle, be a bit healthier. I mean...
Man, if they just ate their natural, raw animal diet, then they wouldn't have to go through any of this at all. This is bullshit.
That's like millions and millions of people in America that currently go to gyms, and around the world that currently go to gyms.
They go to gyms because they don't know what they're doing. They're eating a peasant slave food diet, skating uphill.
If they can get almost everything that they go to the gym for from a pill, then they can just do fun physical things like hiking and biking and swimming and hanging out with their families and be 100% as fit as they would like.
Sure.
That's happening.
Okay.
My best guess is it's going to start happening big time within the next 5 years. Now, through that process of really advanced drugs, folks who want extra results will still lift and still do extra cardio for the time being. Now, here's where shit gets really crazy. In more like 5 to 10 years, not within 5, genetic engineering as a process regularly applied to humans is very likely to blow up. And by blow up, I mean not physically, I mean become radically more adopted in common use. Even for things that aren't diseases, just upgrades. And that's going to let a lot of folks alter their DNA so that they don't need to exercise to gain almost all of its benefits.
Okay.
That means that just through modifying your genes work as if you're always exercising a ton.
Oh, yeah.
And that means you're getting all those molecular downstream benefits usually vectored through exercise, now vectored through direct gene modification, which means we don't even have to switch shit on or switch shit off. We switch it on, we break the switch off, and we leave the cell. And then you just have genetics, literally, like the top 1% of elite genetics for fitness. Scott, you know those people that you're like, hey, how long have you been lifting? And they're like, a week, and you're like, what the f***? Yeah. There is no reason.
Just because they've been lifting for a week, eating a slave food diet, loading carbs in their muscle, doesn't mean they built any muscle. It's just artificial.
Theoretically, why eventually advanced genetic engineering, powered by AI, of course, is not going to allow us to do that.
I'm amazed the very little information that Mike Israetel the very little knowledge Mike Israetel has about bodybuilding at all. Man, it's incredible.
So my contention is this. Maybe 10 to 15 years from now, maybe sooner, I'll talk about that in a little bit, pretty much everyone in the modern civilized world will be able to access having extreme genetics for fitness. For example, the ability to reduce myostatin activation and production to near zero. If you can do that, and I'm going to say that.
Man, if you were to do that, you know what's going to happen to you? You're going to have a big surprise, man. You know, the reason why muscles are postmitotic is because if you were to move some object, and every time you moved an object, you would whatever it is you're eating there, whatever you're doing, your muscles would like synthesize protein or whatever and keep growing. You commit suicide and die. In other words, postmitotic means that the muscle cells don't split and divide. So if they kept splitting and dividing every time you move something, they would grow, right? The amount of energy that it would take up to keep doing that, the resources it would have to look for in your body, because let's say you weren't eating enough protein, fuck, man, you'd have so many complications. Number one, you could starve. By doing that, the cells would keep replicating, not enough protein coming in, maybe you would die, I don't know. Or if there's enough, you keep eating because you're so hungry, you keep eating so the muscles keep growing, and then they won't stop growing, and then I don't know, you commit suicide and die, you kill yourself because they wouldn't stop growing. This is just ridiculous.
It's too much for most people. That means your muscle growth from zero training at all is as high as it is from better than the best training you can give yourself right now. Think about that. You're just always growing muscle. Your muscle cell's number one priority shifts to muscle growth, and number 2, 3, whatever, it kind of forgets about. I'm kidding, it still does them, but I'm talking about muscle growth front and center. Pictures you are about to see on your television screen right now are of animals that have had their myostatin genes completely deactivated. Myostatin knockout animals. They're knockouts.
Okay, so then why don't they do that in humans if they could already do that in animals, knockout genes?
Honey, look at them. Every single one of these animals that you see on the screen has never trained with weights. The mice that are myostatin.
Yeah, well, I see elephants and I see rhinoceroses, I see cattle, I see all kinds of animals out there, and they never train and they have muscles, okay? What are you talking about? Well, look at all the lions and tigers. They have massive muscles. They weigh like 750 pounds.
Knockouts typically hardly even move around because they live in a...
Look at bears.
Knockouts typically hardly even move around because they live...
Look at bears. They're massive, man.
in a cage. And one of these animals you'll probably see is a myostatin knockout greyhound, which looks two things, adorable and sad. That's one thing all at the same time, and arguably the same thing. And two, unreal jacked and not even like a greyhound. How the hell is that thing a greyhound? Well, it turns out greyhounds...
Looks like a mutation, man. It's disgusting.
If you've ever been around them, after their career days of chasing rabbits, they're actually dogs that don't do much. They like to cuddle with you, they're big lovers. They will kill rabbits really impressively in your backyard, but other than that, they don't do much. It's not like they're on a gym floor for dogs. They don't do anything, and they look like that. Think about it. When you do exercise, it vectors on a molecular cascade that ends up altering how much protein you express, and the protein does the rest of the work.
Yeah, the protein does the rest of the work, but you're not eating enough protein, man.
Why not just cut right to the chase and have your genes alter protein expression anyway?
Everybody wants the shortcut where they could just build muscles without having to eat, without having to work for it. You gotta work for it to build those muscles, to eat, to work for it. You gotta eat to work for it. You gotta work for it to eat. You gotta work to eat, to work for it, to build muscles, okay? That's what. You don't want to work for it, you're not going to get any. Muscles, to build muscles, they cost money. You need money to build muscle. If you don't have money, don't waste your time, man. You're not going to build jack shit, okay?
And everything downstream of exercise still happens, but with no exercise at all. It is not just hypothetically possible. There's just no good reason it can't be done other than the tractability of the problem, figuring which genes to attack, how to design the vectors that get to those genes, and how to make sure that the vectors that get to those genes to change them, change your muscle genes, but not genes in your brain that make you have crazy brain cancer or some shit like that. Those are all solvable.
Yeah, but that may happen because that's one possibility. They're going to have all kinds of health issues, these animals, and you would too.
Problems, and they're solving them right now. And right now, most of the drugs being developed or have been developed in testing, they weren't even using AI. AI is going to make that process 100 times more potent in every way you can conceive of. 100 times faster to discovery, 100 times the effect magnitude if possible, and 100 times less probability of doing harm in any other subsystem. This genetic revolution will allow almost everyone that wants it to have the strength and aesthetics that they like overall with precisely zero training. Because remember, the only reason you train for growth and fat loss is because that growth and fat loss activates genes or proteins. And genes make proteins. If those genes and proteins...
Genes make proteins. Genes, they make proteins? Out of what do they make it out of? Breatharian diets? Out of thin air? What are you talking about? They don't make protein. They synthesize it. They don't make protein.
Proteins are already made and active without having to exercise. Exercising can be like redundant and it can burn more calories. But guys, with a few simple genetic modifications that are already available through research drugs right now, not the modifications, but the drugs do this, you can raise your baseline energy output a lot as if you were exercising. So even the extra calorie burning becomes a giant like why? And if you've ever done cardio for 45 minutes at a time while staring at a wall, you might have thought like, man, there's probably better alternate uses of my time if I would just never have to do cardio again. And the time for never having to do cardio again is coming, and it's not far off.
I never do cardio, so I don't know what he's talking about. I don't do cardio, and I've never done cardio. I don't do cardio.
So the next question becomes this: will all of fitness go away? And I don't think the answer is yes. I think it's a no, not quite, not upfront. For example, specialized hypertrophy training for a while is really going to shine. Because if you want like way bigger arms and delts, but the same chest and back, you can't just crank up the myostatin shit because that makes everything bigger and it doesn't care. Skeletal muscle. It'll also make the muscles of your jaw and face bigger, which means you're going to look more like me, which is a
terrible
curse I wouldn't damn anyone with, even my worst enemies. So if you don't want giant muscle head, you don't want... What does this mean for you?
Your TD access...
You. For your future planning. First thing, this is not formal
What does
investment
it mean for us?
advice. I'm absolutely not qualified for that. I just invest in general.
So I gotta skip some of this stuff because this video is way too long, man. It's ridiculous.
Shit anyway. I would not sell your house to invest in big box gyms 5 years from now. There are caveats to this. So point number 6, we have caveats. Number 1, regulation could stall this timeline by 5 to 10 years. Here's how it would happen.
Yeah.
Gene editing's going great. One person gets a gene edit, somebody's famous brother-in-law or some shit. Nasty, some kind of allergic reaction or transgenic reaction, and they croak. Senator Congressman starts a petition, scared parents don't want gene editing to kill their kids, etc. And all of a sudden, we just have like a 5-year moratorium on any new development. That's it. That's 5 years of nothing getting done. You don't even buy the shit. You can't even find it on the market. Entire industry is just like wither on the vine overnight. It can happen. 100% can happen. It can get pushed down by 5 years. It can get pushed out by 10 years. I hope to God that won't happen because these things are awesome, but it very well could. The other perspective, advancements in artificial superintelligence, which I think are damn near for sure. Other people think maybe, maybe not. I consider them likely. And social adoption, I think is an even chance. Might mean that by as early as 2030, genetic upgrades are already spreading around. How? So check this out. Right now, there are drugs. The pipeline for drug development looks like this. The pharmaceutical company has their scientists develop candidate drugs on computers or in wet labs, and they're like, okay, this drug, we think it's going to work. What they do is they usually do their own phases of animal trials because they don't want to waste the FDA's time and get all the stupid approval for everything. The animals didn't die, and the effect was demonstrated as like, wow, this thing really does what we want. After that, they start going through the FDA trials process where it's multiple animal trial situations, and then usually three stages, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 of human trials. That whole process charitably takes 5 years and realistically takes like 10. That's how drugs are made. almost all the drugs that you will get on the market released in, let's say, 2026 are going to be drugs that were on the drawing board in like 2015. I kid you not. Pre-AI, literally just didn't have AI back then. And so what's going to happen is all these drugs are going through the pipeline and they're going real slow. When AI starts crapping out these drugs that are small molecule drugs, let me tell you another thing. A lot of these drugs for muscle growth and stuff, even the ones we've talked about on this channel, they're called biologics, which is they're very complex molecules. If you shake it like this, the whole molecule is destroyed. If you put it in the sun for 2 seconds and it's direct sunlight, the whole molecule gets destroyed. Okay. If during shipping the thing sees any amount of heat for 5 minutes, the molecule gets destroyed. So these biologics, you have to go to a hospital or an infusion center and get them IV'd into you once a month. Otherwise, it just don't work. And they cost $10,000 per IV infusion. So it's like, okay, those are the new drugs coming out. Fine. AI, and actually pre-AI already this is happening. By the way, AI is going to happen 100 times more often for the same effect.
Yeah, people are using AI now with the CRISPR kit. Okay, whatever. This is just junk, man. Let's see what else he has to say here. Good or bad?
Is this a good thing or a bad thing? Everything is a mixed bag. I think this is bad because it looks like commercial gym culture could
I will agree. I think it's bad.
be really declining fast once the big upgrades hit.
I think it's dangerous is what it is. And I think it'll never happen. It'll never come to fruition. It'll be illegal too. It's illegal to gene edit in many countries. To edit a human being like that. It could be passed on. It could be passed on.
And that sucks. Gym culture's a vibe. A lot of people make money out of commercials.
In other words, it's never going to happen. Let's just put it this way. This is never going to happen. I just know it's not. It's not.
Gym too, so they're going to have to pivot. Another thing I think it's bad is because some folks, gym folks, personal trainers, etc., will have to retrain to help people with non-hypertrophy problems because we'll have solved the hypertrophy problem. But I think it's amazing because those of us who want, will no longer have to spend hours of our weeks training. We can do other valuable things and hobbies, like, helping people in need, helping the homeless, helping unparented children, the needy in other countries, veterans, the elderly, and honestly each other. Because I think a lot of people, and this is research-backed, are dying for more real-world social interaction. And right now we're busy solving so many problems, we haven't even gotten around to that. I think the average person wants something like 10 friends and has something like 1 to 2 or 1 to 3. There's a big friend deficit that we can all solve if we just met up and had a lot of fun together, but we're busy working out and doing all kinds of other shit that doesn't allow for that. So I think it's going to be unbelievable for most people, because at the end of the day, for very many people, not me and you, for very many people, exercise and getting jacked is a chore. We could just eliminate that chore, it'll be unbelievable. Now, I think this is awesome personally, because as soon as I get to have the body of my dreams without doing shit about it, I'm going to dive so deep into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu training, which I do a little bit of now, but I've been missing like crazy because I have to do this bodybuilding thing. If my body's taken care of, I'm doing Jiu-Jitsu day, night, middle of the night, all that shit. It's going to be unbelievable. What will you do with your new free time that you'll have when you don't have to go to the gym anymore in maybe 10, maybe 15 years? It's jerking off, isn't it? We all knew it was that. Scott, what if they make a pill that, you know what, never mind. I'm not even going to go down that road. Guys, we will be keeping you up to date on as many of these developments in modern medicine and modern science to get you upgraded to that next level physique.
All right, man. I don't know what else to say there. Tell me what you think about that. Like, subscribe, support the channel. Me personally, this shit's never coming to fruition. All right, friends, it's Team Man. We're back with another Renaissance periodization Mike Israetel video. We're going to react to the gym lifting, recruiting, fitness, gear slaves video. In this video, Mike Israetel says, modern men's low testosterone crisis. What's going on? I don't know what's going on.
We hear that male testosterone levels have dropped on average since like the 70s or something like that.
That's absolutely not true. What happened was, it hasn't dropped since the 70s. Since the 70s, people started eating more of a slave food diet and imports. They started getting more imports. They started eating more fruits and vegetables. And the slave food diet and the fruits and vegetables, the imports. They're eating them all year round. These anti-nutrients. That's right.
First of all, is that true?
Yeah, so there is some truth to that. And the reason is because we know that as people get more unhealthy, they get more comorbid conditions, more
Listen to what she says. As people get more unhealthy. Yeah. As you eat more unhealthy foods called fruits and vegetables, and these, the fake foods too as well, and the seed oils and everything else, and you're eating them all year round, what did you expect, right?
diabetes, more high blood pressure, more, high cholesterol. All of these things are basically going up, and testosterone subsequently is going down.
Exactly. She just told you what's going on, why you have low testosterone. It's because you're eating unhealthy. You stopped eating healthy. What's healthy? Animal products, raw animal products. People slowly stopped eating more raw animal products. They started cooking more of their animal products. They started processing eating more processed animal products, which is cooking, and they're even eating less of it, and they're eating more of these imports and more fruits and vegetables and seed oils and these fake foods, man. Get it? Yeah. That's what they're doing. And these artificial man-made foods.
So the more you acquire these things, the more obesity, the more metabolic syndrome, the more we're seeing testosterone go down, and even in younger people.
That's right.
Because they're also unhealthy.
Legendary.
That's right. When you go to this so-called carnivore community, whatever you want to call it, I don't know why they call it that, but whatever. When you go to eat your natural diet, animal products, and you're in a positive nitrogen balance, well, guess what? Testosterone is through the roof. Yeah, you have high testosterone. A bunch of stuff happens. Miracles start happening that you've never had. That's never happened to you before. Now, when you start eating these foods, it's associated with low hormonal responses. Yeah, that's what happens. The anti-nutrient. They're unhealthy foods for you. They're unhealthy. Anything that would lower your testosterone is considered unhealthy. Now, if meat increases your testosterone, right? Animal products increase testosterone. Are you unhealthy? She said, testosterone, low testosterone, unhealthy foods. What's causing them? The unhealthy foods. Now, what causes testosterone to go up? Healthy foods. What's healthy? Animal products. There you go. See? It's not hard to figure it out. It's not hard to understand what's healthy, what's unhealthy for you.
Really so.
Right. And so that's the number one reason. There's also a whole host.
Yeah, and you're in negative nitrogen balance. The more unhealthy you eat, these so-called unhealthy foods like fruits and vegetables, the more you're in negative nitrogen balance, the more you're going to have low testosterone. You're anabolic.
Of other things that contribute.
You can't build muscle. That's why you're complaining about newbie gain limit, hard gainer, genetic limit, and hard gainer, whatever. Yeah.
Having more exposures to endocrine disrupting chemicals in the environment, and some of which we do have legislation to control.
Okay, so why are you being exposed to more of these chemicals? Because you're eating these chemical-filled fruits and vegetables all year round. These unhealthy fruits and vegetables, get it? They're massively sprayed with chemicals, and you're eating them now all year round. Yeah.
Microbeads and microbead sort of products anymore that are available in the United States. BPA free is a very common thing.
Yep.
So there are things in place to try to limit exposures, but we're eating a credit card of plastic every year or something.
I make sure to eat a real credit card every year, just not to miss out.
Yeah, of course, yeah. So, I think there are exposures that we can sort of limit, but to some degree, we're all exposed. Yeah. And the good news is that we can get rid of a lot of it, but at some point it does accumulate, right? Sure. And so that's causing issues. And so, all those things together. And then,
small daily choice.
When you're thinking about things that boost testosterone, it's like movement, right? It's moving your body, lifting weights, doing, high intensity interval training. And we are more and more sedentary, right? We're doing Zoom meetings at home. We're sitting on our couches and since COVID. And so I think that's playing a big role in it.
Yeah.
And we're more stressed out than ever, right? People are just so stressed with chronic levels of stress. And if you have chronically elevated cortisol, it's going to affect your testosterone.
Well, the food causes you to be stressed.
testosterone.
That's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
That also ends up affecting sexual behavior tremendously because I think stress is like the great killer of sex life, pretty much.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't get turned on when you're like stressed.
Yeah, it's like just now's not the time.
No, yeah, exactly.
Just imagine like you've got like a machine gun up and there's zombies downrange and the girl next to you is like, let's get it on. You're like, are you crazy?
Right.
There's a time and place for this, young lady.
Yes.
Yeah, and so if you low key always have stress, you low key will have lower testosterone probably, and probably like less fruitful and regenerative sexual interactions that are just healthy for humans to have.
Right. And it's sort of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like your testosterone goes up when you have anticipation for sex.
Yes.
And so if you don't have anticipation for sex because you're stressed all the time, that also plays a role,
Yep.
right? And then, I think the other big one is sleep. So
Yeah.
we don't sleep. We are scrolling our phones until whatever hour of night, or we're purposely staying up late because life is so stressful and we want this downtime.
Sure.
But then we're hurting ourselves.
That's a big one. People will have these really ambitious, to make this not so negative and like balanced, humans are accomplishing more than ever.
Absolutely.
Our incomes are staggering relative to our ability to buy things. Absolutely staggering. So we're just hyper successful, but we're so successful that we end up working so much and getting so stressed. And we end up having like a half an hour at the end of every day to be like, well, just you time now.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't need half an hour. I need 3 hours. And then you're missing sleep.
Yeah.
And that whole thing of stress is going on. And you don't have time to connect with your partner because everyone's working like a dog. Look, we wanted this. One thing I like to tell people is like economically, almost every American, not every, but almost every, can afford to work like half as much and still have a great standard of living. But when you're like, hey, do you want to work half as much and have half less money? You're like, most people are just like, I want money. I'm good.
Well,
And it comes at a price.
consumerism is like a real thing, right?
Sure.
So you got to keep up with the Joneses in order to keep
Yeah.
your lifestyle. You got to keep working, and I think that's a real problem, right? Because we also have now, because of modern technology, the ability to work like from our phones,
Yes.
from
24/7.
anywhere. Like you can literally be constantly working if you so choose to.
Every time I'm on a flight to go somewhere, usually for work, I end up looking at my phone and I'm like, was here for 3 hours. Might as well get to work, and I just end up working. I think a lot of people end up doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big deal. All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room. I'm kidding. I don't know. That was a shit analogy. That's funnier when I say it. People have lower sperm counts as well. Males have lower sperm counts.
Correct.
Again, that's the reason why these so-called unhealthy foods that their people are eating. That's why they have low sperm counts.
There have been many hypotheses as to why that is. Part of it's testosterone mediated. Part of it is no doubt endocrine disrupting chemical to some limited or moderate extent, but it's not the whole picture. We know that.
Yeah.
But what about ejaculation frequency mediated by pornography? Because this is a story I've heard. Folks are jerking it a lot. And what that does is it lowers the accumulation of higher testosterone through the week, for example, because it's kind of an off valve. And also it reduces sperm count and keeps your sperm count lower. And maybe it also, and this is speculative, I'd love for you to touch on this, somehow kind of deflates your deep drive and motivation for success or something like that. People are kind of fuzzy about that. It might reduce athletic performance. It just kind of takes the oomph out of your sales. How much of that is true? Is it true only at the extremes? Does it affect everyone? What is your take on that?
Well, let's talk about the stuff that we absolutely know. So what we absolutely know is that when you are ejaculating frequently, your sperm concentration and count is going to be lower, right? And so they've actually done multiple studies to figure out like how often should you ejaculate if you want to get pregnant, right? So that's that. There's an abundance of data on that, and they've had people abstain for days and days and days versus 24 hours, and they found that really, yes, your sperm count goes up over days, but at about 5 days, the sperm actually has more DNA fragmentation and becomes genetically less favorable, and so you
Old
want
sperm.
Yes, so you don't really want that kind of sperm when you're trying to have a baby. So what we tell people, at least in terms of like keeping healthy sperm, is 24 to 48 hours. So you should have sex maybe every other day or every day during your fertile window, but that's sufficient. You don't need to do more than that, and you don't need to do, you don't need to wait 5 days, right? Because you want to essentially have the best chance for sex, to have a conception. So that's one. So two, then talking about like how does it affect testosterone? Well, there's actually no data. There's only like one study that looked at guys who abstained, and it was like 10 guys, and they abstained for 21 days. And so they looked at testosterone levels.
We're all lying.
Yeah, well, I mean, whatever. Who knows? But by the 21st day, they checked their testosterone again, and it was higher by about 50 nanograms per deciliter. Now,
Oh, that's nothing.
it's nothing, right? That could be like a regular day.
That's within the margin of error.
With PC Financial, you earn more PC op.
And then also you could say like there's the anticipatory cue. Like if you really abstained for 21 days, like you're really excited. So that's going to play a role as well. So really it was 10 healthy guys with no real medical problems who did this. And like it's not enough to make any sort of finding with that. There was one other study with like 30 patients, and that was actually debunked and like pulled from the literature. So like still people are like looking at that study. And it's like there was actually a retraction of that study. So ultimately there's really no evidence that ejaculating more frequently or abstaining for like No Nut November, for example, or whatever, semen retention.
My next talking point
I know,
right out of my notes.
It's really going to make a difference in terms of like you getting your testosterone higher. Now, so that's one thing. Now, in terms of like you said, like your mood or you're feeling a little less desire or urge for sex. Now, I think that's a whole host of different things. So why are you masturbating so frequently and using whatever means to do that, whether there's pornography or whatever? Why do you feel
toaster.
really?
Think about
Why?
that.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't you kink shame me.
You're right. You're right. If that's what you're into, just don't put your appendage in there. Okay.
Well, that's exactly what it's for. It's safe, I think. I used to be an electrician. Anyway, please answer the question.
Anyway, so the question is then why are you doing that? Usually what happens in people who are masturbating quite frequently.
What is quite frequently? Can you tell us?
I guess it's really quite frequently to the point where it's detracting from their life, right? For some people.
Well, this is getting boring at this point. They're not getting to the, what is this? No Nut November? Okay.
Okay, interesting. So if I say I want to do No Nut November, and for me, that's just like a fun way to challenge.
You know, the funny thing is they never mention what would cause testosterone to go up. They just keep telling you what is lowering testosterone. Well, here's the thing. Now that you know what lowers testosterone, what she said, then just do the opposite and your testosterone should go up. See what I mean? You see how simple this is? I don't want to stay really forever on this video. The topic is just ridiculous. Just do the opposite of what's causing your testosterone to go down. That's all. It's really simple. Yeah. I don't know what else to say there, man. I'll see you in the next video, friends. Don't you think about that, like, subscribe, support the channel. Ciao, man. All right, friends, we're back with a ordinary video from Blaha, the ordinary fitness YouTuber. Anyway, so we're going to react to the gym lifting, recruiting, fitness, gear slaves video. In this video, Jason Blaha says, run from any guru promoting diets other than balanced whole food diets. Yeah, okay, whatever that means. Okay, yeah.
Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here representing Jason Blaha Strength and Fitness, and today I want to chat with you guys and gals a little bit about why you need to run from people who are promoting fad diets instead of balanced diets. But a quick reminder, if you guys will please click like down below, be greatly appreciated. If you're not subscribed or following, please do so. If you'll be kind enough to drop me a comment down below, I would appreciate it. Thank you so much. We're seeing way too much of this again these days. This has always been a thing of people promoting diets that have a name and all this nonsense. And the reality, people need to...
Well, diets that have a name. Well, you have a diet. It's the original diet. It's called animal products, raw animal products. That's your original diet. I guess that's not good enough for Blaha. So something natural and original is bad. Original deemed bad. Must eat fake, yeah? Must do fake things, okay.
Following balanced diets. And I get it for lifters. You're going to
I get it. He gets it. Balanced diets. You don't need any balanced diet. You just need to eat your original diet.
more protein and stuff, perfectly fine, but even then you probably don't need as much as people are telling you you need.
Oh, really?
You know, you don't need 300 grams of protein to gain muscle. You just don't. All right.
And why don't you need 300 grams of protein to build muscle? Okay, the question is this: how many grams of protein do you really need to build muscle? Well, science will tell you when protein synthesis outpaces protein breakdown, that's when muscles are built. How many grams does it take for muscle protein synthesis to outpace muscle protein breakdown? Think about that logically and intelligent. Think about that very carefully. He said you don't need 300 grams. So something under 300 grams is a couple of what? A couple of slices of salami? Give me a break. Oh, man. That's just stupid. You're on a protein diet already. Everybody is. We're all carnivore animals. We're eating meat all the time. Now, what you do with it, processing it, or whatever you're doing to it unnaturally, destroying it, that's your own business. I don't care what people do out there. But like I said, protein synthesis needs to outpace protein breakdown in order to see that mass on that myofibrillar. Otherwise, you're not building jack shit. So under 300 obviously is not enough.
But I digress. Over to the point. Everyone is so focused.
But he digresses, okay.
So all these weird, crazy, kooky ideas of we're getting into anti-nutrients. Like, oh my God. I mean, keep in mind, this is...
He's on my channel writing me in my comment section. He uses like the sock accounts and he keeps writing me. I don't really care, but whatever. Anti-nutrients, yeah, I did a video on it again. Anti-nutrients, yeah, they're anti-nutrient. They make you a negative nitrogen balance because they interfere with all kinds of things. The gut, this, that. It's associated with accelerated aging, negative nitrogen balance. That's why these lifters look aged, and their faces, their head, and everything. The hair is gone. They look old.
Into anti-nutrients. Like, oh my God. I mean, keep in mind, this has been completely debunked by the leading researchers and experts. And
what's been debunked? You just admitted anti-nutrients, yeah.
Registered dietitians and stuff, this whole thing. Like, there's...
I don't care if it's been debunked or schmunked by a bunch of assholes. It's kind of obvious. We already know the truth. We don't need them. And their debunking is probably some epidemiology study. It's not even fucking science.
Tons of material saying, hey, this...
Listen, there's tons of material. PubMed, NCBI tells you that plants are fucking toxic and anti-nutrient. Okay, dude? They place you in negative nitrogen balance. Even vegan diets, negative nitrogen balance. There you go.
Stupid quackery. It's dumb. Just stop. This is nonsense. Right?
And Jason Blaha is not dumb and quackery. Look at him.
This is what the best experts are telling you.
Oh, the best experts.
And here's the thing. There's no conspiracy to get you to eat fruits and vegetables. Just stop.
There's no conspiracy to get you to eat them. They're imported, so they, man, humans are animals of opportunity. When opportunity arises, humans will take advantage of that opportunity. They can eat to no end, like a dog. Dogs can fucking you put them somewhere, you put them around food, they'll eat to no end because they think that there won't be much more food, so they have to be carried over through a famine or something. These animals, they have this idea. Humans kind of have that same idea. They put on fat to what? Carry over for a famine. Maybe if you ran out of food for a while, you'd live off your fat stores in your body, so you wouldn't die right away. But the thing is this. So you're relying on lots of imports. So they're importing these foods. They're just coming in droves. So you go to a store and you're overwhelmed by all these foods. So, you know, you kind of like want to eat them. I don't know. But it's weird that humans don't want to eat their natural food. Well, because, people demonize it. Hollywood and other people, the slaves, demonize it and say, oh my God, you shouldn't be drinking animal blood or eating raw animal products, which is your natural original diet, but you don't like your original diet because you've been made not to like it. See what I mean? You've been conditioned not to like it, but the problem is you still crave it. That's the problem. You're craving it, yeah. But okay, whatever.
Again, anyone that's a perfect example. If anyone is telling you, yeah, there's a global conspiracy to convince people that fruits and vegetables are healthy. All right.
Yeah, they are trying to convince you that fruits and vegetables are healthy, which they are not. Yeah, everybody says they're healthy. I go, what's healthy about them? Oh, they got vitamin C. That's it? Man, whatever.
That person is insane.
I love this. That person is insane. Blaha is the most insane person on the internet. Look at him.
That again, they're not just a quack, they are insane.
Yes, he's a sick individual, jumping up and down, lifting man-made weight, jumping on this block, pushing sleds, running, snorting, spitting, and eating a slave food, nasty ass diet. See what I mean? And look what has become of him by doing that exactly. He still doesn't understand what lifting is about. It's about regenerating your body. It's about regeneration. That's all it is. And the food that you eat can regenerate you or it can destroy you. And that's a fact. Food can destroy you or it can make you
A new Pharaoh, Nebka, has been proclaimed, heralding the beginning of the third dynasty.
All right. Definitely don't need to be giving out.
Yeah, this guy needs to be put in a mental institution. Yes, actually, he already is. It's called YouTube, and everybody's watching him out of his garage, acting mentally sick, jumping up and down on this brick and doing weird things.
Nutrition advice.
Basically, aging the shit out of himself. That's what he's doing here. Yeah. So. Yeah. Look at the noobs hanging down, eh?
So over to the point. It's nonsense. Or the crazy vegans. All animal-based foods are causing
The vegans are nuts.
problems. Yet they'll eat coconut oil and refined sugar. Yeah, those are the top end of the problems. Just stop. They're plant-based. And you're also having nutrient deficiencies and brain damage because of your nutrient deficiencies. Just stop.
Yeah, nutrient deficiencies. They're not eating meat. They're not eating meat. It's not deficient in any nutrients.
Same thing, the carnivores. All plants, yeah, you're plant.
The carnivores. A carnivore animal is not meant to eat plants. I'm not saying you can't get away with it. You're tolerating it. You know that you're gonna get inflammation, bloating, farting. You're gonna rot your teeth. You're gonna destroy your gut. Yeah, eating plants. That is already a given. We already know those experiences. I've had them, you've had them, and everybody else has had them out there. Yeah.
Plants are not the problem. Fruits and vegetables are not the problem. Just stop.
Fruits and vegetables are the problem.
Even people, carbs, really, just stop. All the longest lived healthiest societies on earth eat 50% or more of their calories from carbohydrates.
Longest lived societies, just like not long ago, they ate, I don't know, 90% of their diet was fucking animal based. It was all animal based for centuries. It was until people started eating slave food diets.
Again, full of crap. This is all crazy fad diets, people. Crazy fad diets. What people need to be doing is balanced nutrition. Okay? We know based on all the...
Oh, God. You have to do balanced nutrition. You don't have to balance out anything. It's the government speaking.
Available data. The higher diversity of fruits, vegetables, fibers, and things that you eat, it's going to be a whole lot of food groups. Generally, the better your gut health is, the better your health is, the better your nutrient diversity is, the less imbalanced problems.
If you're in positive nitrogen balance, not eating these anti-nutrients, then yes, you're going to have great gut health. Eating these anti-nutrients, they're going to destroy your gut health, that's for sure.
You have, because anything that you're worried about, hey, getting too much of one thing versus another, starts to really go away real quickly. Different foods literally counter some of the minor negatives we get from other foods, right? We see this all the time. This is why a very balanced diet is so important. Okay, literally some of the like phytic acid. But if you eat any meat with iron in it, it completely removes any of the anti-nutrient concerns from phytic acid. That's a perfect example. Phytic acid has amazing health benefits, amazing antioxidant, anti-cancer benefits. So the same thing.
It doesn't have any of these benefits. Again, it's just people trying to brainwash you into believing that.
Small amounts of red meat or limited amounts, reasonable amounts.
Small amounts of red meat? You mean raw meat or red meat? Like, what do you mean? Processed meat or raw meat? You say red meat. What do you mean by red meat? You got to be more specific, dumbass.
Guess what? The phytic acid, for example, cancels out some of the concerns of the red meat as far as colon concern.
What phytic acids? What are you talking about? Cancels out what from red meat? What the fuck are you talking about? You're an idiot. What cancers? Red meat doesn't cause cancer. It doesn't cause any of those things.
And other stuff, insulin resistance. It's like, oh, so in reality, leaner cuts of red meat do really, really well with any plants, foods that have phytic acid. You know, certain grains and legumes and stuff that people are worried about. See how this works? Just following a balanced diet. My God. So it's like, wow, maybe eat some brown rice with your steak. Holy crap.
Eat some brown rice with your steak. You need to do this. Why?
All sorts of good stuff happens. Right? So this is what we mean by a balanced diet. Quit excluding entire whole food groups.
Yeah, but you don't need them, and they're anti-nutrient. They're toxic to humans.
A balanced diet means we should be eating some of most of the different food groups to some extent, right?
No, you should be eating your classic diet. Meat. Yeah. Animal products, fish, meat, whatever, shellfish, you know. Raw milk, whatever. Bunch of stuff in its natural state. Unprocessed.
You need to be eating fruits, vegetables, you know, nuts.
No, I don't need to be eating any of that, and I'm not eating it, so how do I feel? Amazing. Yeah.
Grains, tubers, lean meats, dairy, eggs, these are all beneficial things, right? They're all beneficial things.
I had all that when I came to Europe.
And most of them, any concerns that you have from them are only there in excess. So if we're eating a balanced, varied, whole food, mixed diet, we're pretty good. If we're avoiding excessive saturated fat, we're avoiding refined sugars, we're avoiding alcohols, and we're just eating a very mixed diet, you're going to be, in terms of dietary nutrition, in the top 5% of the population, easily, just in terms of that. Even if you don't really fine-tune anything else beyond that, even if you don't care about what your nutrients are and track them or try to fine-tune anything, you're still going to be really, really, really good. You're going to be in the top 5% just by following those rules, okay? But people get obsessed over nuance while they're still doing silly stuff. They get into the silly fad diets that are unhealthy. They get extremely obsessed about individual.
You mean like Blaha? He's on that kind of weird-ass diet, tofu and who knows what, fake food diet.
things like a pesticide or something or an anti-nutrient, and it really is a waste of time. These are obsessions, and I'm not saying we shouldn't ever care about these things, but there comes a point. That's a perfect example. Number one, you're not getting away from pesticides in foods. Number two, fortunately, you don't have to. Our body can handle small amounts. You're not going to get away from them. But number three, like, why do you
Look at him pushing the sled. It would be amazing. Cop car shows up.
even care if your other stuff isn't dialed in? You know, it's like, you know, you'll see someone who drinks alcohol who's worried about it. Like, you know how stupid that is? No, I mean, literally.
Maybe he thinks it's worse.
You know how dumb that is?
That ain't any dumber than what you're doing here in this garage. You've lost your hair and everything else.
That's like throwing away $100 bills while obsessing over a dime somewhere.
Sure.
You know,
Didn't Blaha ever use that excuse before?
it's that level of I mean, that is a level of stupidity. Like, that's not just bad. That is so stupid that, you know, you have to wonder if that person can tie their shoes on their own. Because one of these is objectively way scarier and worse than the other, for the same reason as being a poison. You know, and that's what I mean, guys. Just a balanced diet. Don't worry about the minor things. If you're eating all whole foods, you're eating a varied diet, you're getting all these various foods, and you're limiting the really bad stuff.
Oh, you are you?
Refined sugars, saturated fat in excess, alcohol, all these things. If you're doing these things, you're in a good place. So stay away from the fad diets.
Man, stay away from anybody that is advising you to stay away from something that is, man, classic and natural, your diet, eating raw animal products. It's kind of obvious on the face of it. Go look Maxing Community Transformation. What are they doing? Eating raw animal products. People are a lot healthier. They're a lot stronger. They're in positive nitrogen balance for the first time. Yeah. So I would say that it must be working. It must be. Yeah, man. Now, whatever Blaha's doing here is not working. He's a midget. Listen, man, I seen this thing where Blaha was standing up with these people. He's very short.
And anyone who's promoting them, they're either a con man or they're crazy. And that's what you have to remember. And really, either one of these is a problem. And I don't mean a good type of crazy. I mean, I'm definitely crazy. You guys see me pushing the sled barefoot. Like, oh, let's squat 500 pounds at age 48. Let's go running barefoot. Let's push a sled down this street. I'm kind of crazy, don't I?
Yes, he's crazy. Let's go push a sled down the street so the neighbors could point and admire what an idiot I am. What a maniac, crazy maniac I am. And show them what I eat, my slave food diet, pushing the sled down the street, bro. Oh, this is classic Blaha.
You're wrong. I'm not saying I'm not crazy. But there's different types of crazies.
I know you're not saying you're not crazy. You're insane is what you are. You're just insane.
These are like need to be in an insane asylum crazy. And really a lot of them are. Like they're that nuts.
Yeah, sure, you belong there. You do.
Like it looks almost like undiagnosed or unmedicated schizophrenia.
Oh yeah.
Like some of this nonsense. Some of these diet people. Like I really think that's what's happening. These are major disorders going untreated. And then they're spouting off nutrition stuff online.
Sure.
Run from these people. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative. I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.
All right, see you later, friends. friends, we back with a Jason Blaha video. We're gonna react to the gym lifting, recruiting fitness gear slaves ridiculous video. So Jason Blaha says modern bodybuilding training only works due to all the drugs. It doesn't work then. What's the point of doing it? All right.
Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, representing Jason Blaha Strength and Fitness, and I'm just gonna upset some people and say it. The only reason modern bodybuilding training is making anyone really big is because of the drugs. That's it.
So that's the only reason why people are getting big due to modern bodybuilding. That's why Blaha's not getting big, right? Is that it? Is this the excuse? Is that what he's saying? Because steroids? He needs steroids to get big? Oh my God. Then how come he's not getting big? He's taking steroids, isn't he? Look at Blaha. It's just shell of a man. Have you seen the new Solar Youth video? I gotta play that. I think I gotta play this because I know Blaha's gonna watch this video. I gotta play it for Blaha. All right, guys. So this is the new Solar Youth video. I wanna play it for you because it's great, dude.
And so many people just wanted to eat.
This is for Blaha as well.
Easy way. I'm sorry, man. It's not. So what they start to do is they build this narrative. It's okay. When the narrative should be, you need to fucking work harder. You need to fucking discipline your mind better. So every day you should be getting after it. Yeah. We look at determination, self-discipline. We look at hard work.
Every day you should get out and do. Yeah, discipline. Right there. Discipline, bro.
We look at determination, self-discipline. We look at hard work. All these terms is almost like we dread them. It was like a fucking punishment. In life, a lot of us work our fucking ass
It's like a punishment.
off, trying to get to a better place.
When in life we work our ass off trying to get to a better place. That's like Blaha.
A place that makes us feel better about ourselves. A place that makes us feel better about ourselves.
That's the life. Now that's the life. See that? I love that life. Yeah. That's true. Nobody cares if you run. Nobody cares if you lift. Nobody cares what you do. They really don't. You're just torturing yourself for no reason. This guy, he was disciplined, eh? It stresses you and ages you. That's the truth. That's all it really does. Have fun, baby. What you hate. We only have so much time on this earth. It's true. I can tell you this much. If you're a periodic lifter, I can understand, you know, here and there, whatever, okay? You're trying to gain some myofibrillar growth, something maybe even for sports. But if you're a frequent lifter like Blaha, it's going to sap your energy. All your life is going to be there lifting weights. You're going to imprison yourself like him. He's a lifting slave. Blaha has imprisoned himself. He is a lifting slave.
Tell me.
That's the truth, man.
I couldn't. They're just thoughts. They don't mean anything. Where did did you find these?
I found them in those little shells.
Oh, they're beautiful. Thank you.
Score up to 60% off at Michael's lowest.
See, that was a great video, wasn't it? Now look at Blaha.
The only reason modern bodybuilding training is making anyone really big is because of the drugs.
Yeah.
That's it. But a quick reminder, if you guys will please click like down below, be greatly appreciated. If you're not subscribed or following, please do so. And if you'll be kind enough to drop me a comment down below, I'd appreciate it so much. And I mean, really, you just have to go look at various
It's just a slave.
athletes in different sports. Go and look at older school dudes. All the dudes who were there before.
All the dudes. So why lift at all? Why bother lifting?
The drugs and stuff existed. Totally different type of physique, but they were all still jacked. You see all these athletes who, and people say, yeah, but a lot of these athletes are on stuff, but they're not on the amount of stuff guys are using. We need to be clear on that. So when these topics come up and people bring up CrossFitters and boxers and everyone else, and they say really stupid stuff like they're juiced to the gills,
okay,
that's insane. They're not. They can't be. They can't do the stuff they do and do that. It's impossible.
What are you talking about? They're juiced to the gills.
And I'm saying that because people who are saying this clearly don't know anything about drugs. They have no...
I know enough about it. Hung around people that were doing it. Believe me, they were hardcore. They did a lot of stuff back in the day.
Experience with anabolics. And I'm not saying they're not all on a little bit of stuff, they are. But that tends to go hand in hand with sports in general. But if anyone really and truly thinks any of these guys are using 1,000 milligrams of anabolics a week or something like that, whereas in the bodybuilding you're following, an influencer using 3, 4, 5,000, 6,000, 10,000 a week, pretty normal. A lot of these bodybuilders you're following, that's pretty normal. So, but anyone thinks these guys are doing that, sorry, you're delusional. You clearly have never done anything athletic in your life while trying to do that, or you would already know it's impossible. Right? Everyone out there already knows exactly what I'm saying from that world. They're like, yeah, dude, you're not doing that.
Look how delusional this guy is jumping on a box.
You're not going for a run.
It's crazy.
You're not going to do boatloads of gear and go for a run. You're not going to do it. You're going to do a bunch of really high volume.
Yahoo! Haha, it's blah. It's Dr. Evil.
Stuff. And I
A
think
new
people need
Pharaoh.
to realize.
Yeah.
That's...
He looks so funny, man. Look at his moves. They're drooping. They're drooping there, the moves.
Where I'm going to segue with this. Why do you think machines and stuff are so popular for all the volume for all these bodybuilders?
I don't know. Why are they popular, blah? Please do tell us.
When you guys ever tried to use a bunch of tren and orals and actually do anything athletic? Can you imagine trying to do any significant amount of standing barbell work? Can you even imagine doing much of it?
What are you talking about? They use steroids in sports, man, but they're using specific ones. They're using like anabolic, androgenic drugs, anabolic drugs. More on the anabolic side than androgenic, like Anavar, Winstrol, Primo, a bunch of other stuff too. Deca, stuff that doesn't get you majorly pumped up, especially if you're eating carbs. Carbs like Sustanon 250 or something, or I don't know, Anadrol 50, D-ball, whatever. These crazy drugs that people use that just fill you up with water, pump you up.
It's the drugs. They can't do it. The back pumps, the back cramps, the side effects, the lack of cardiovascular ability from all these bodybuilders, they literally can't train that way. Okay?
Cardiovascular.
Ronnie Coleman did the heavy 4 reps, heavy doubles. Yeah.
Oh, he did.
That's what we said there.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
These guys are not doing a bunch of athletic stuff. They can't. Most of them can't. The drugs will literally prevent it. So they do all this other goofball training, and then it gets popularized. And then you see all the evidence-based guys, well, we're over here in tension, it's tension. We're just doing all this stuff on machines.
Popularized.
But then the ones who aren't on gear are still tiny. They're not getting results. Right? How many of them out there do we see of these evidence-based guys who really try to train like this, ultra high volumes, mostly machines, trying to isolate everything?
I don't know how many.
Who still have like no size at all.
And they have no size at all. People trying to train these machines, everything, whatever. Are these the guys on steroids or not? Blah. Ones without, right? I don't know, man. So what's the point of everybody lifting? Why are you going to the gym, okay? Why are you going there, dude? Why are you wasting your time? Just watch channels, listen to me, don't be a slave. Watch Solar Youth, watch these other channels, and guess what? Your life is going to be so much better. If you want your life to be easier and stop making it harder, then stop doing these things like blah. See what I mean? These are bad influences. He's a bad influence on people. The slave food diet is crazy slave food lifting here in this crazy garage.
And I don't need anyone saying, oh, look, you don't have size either. No, they're like a third of my size.
Look at me. I'm built, and I don't lift. You understand the difference? I still look young. I still have my hair. I don't look like I've deteriorated faster than I've aged. Thank God. And I'm just getting better all the time because I'm back on a natural diet. And the fact is, I don't lift. I do periodically, but I take long periods away from the gym, bro. Yeah, it's not like you have to go there. You don't have to do anything. Do what you like to do, what you love to do. If you don't love to go, don't go. If you love to go, then go. See what I mean? But do it because you love it, not because you don't. See what I mean? But if you do it, I always say, hey, go all out. You know, try to get what you want out of it. Go all out or don't waste your time. A lot of people waste their time, man. They don't go all out. They just pretend. They're pretending like blah. He's pretend bodybuilding.
Right? So if I don't have any size, then you're proving my point. So you look at all these guys you're talking about. So if I'm not big, then you just proved my point because they're not at all.
Nobody cares in this planet whether you're big or not. They don't care. They care more about themselves, believe me. They don't care. Now, the only time people care is if you're better looking than they are. They look over at you if you're like the same age and they're deteriorating faster than they're aging and then they're regenerating and you're regenerating faster than you're aging and you look young, then they care. That is the only time they care because they're jealous. Because you ask them, why are you so jealous? Because they care. They wouldn't be so jealous if they didn't care. You understand the difference, people? Yeah. So that's totally different. Nobody cares about Blaha because nobody's jealous of him.
And I'm an old man. Just
see, he's an old man. There's nothing to be jealous. I love how he keeps emphasizing he's an old man. If you keep emphasizing you're an old man, then you will be, because that's his goal, to be an old man, to look like an old man. That's not my goal, bro. Get it? If that's not your goal, then what is your goal? Oh, you want to be young, right? Okay, so then you need to focus on that fucking goal to be young. Get it? It isn't lifting in a gym. Consistently. I'm not saying you can't lift periodically for regenerative purposes like science says. Now, I eat for regenerative purposes. When I eat, it's because I'm regenerating. I'm regenerating faster than I'm deteriorating. That's the difference. Now, majority of people out there are deteriorating faster than they're aging because they can't stop eating the slave food diet, okay? Peasant slave food diet, and they can't stop stressing the shit out of themselves in either some crazy ass job they're stuck in, physical crazy ass job, or going on top of it, they're going to the gym to stress themselves even more. And I know people like that, believe me. I knew construction workers, they go to the gym after they worked a hard day on a physical labor job, man. That's just crazy.
Not throwing that out there. See, a lot of them, they're tiny. They're tiny, they're weak. Because this training doesn't work without drugs. It doesn't work.
They're tiny and they're weak. Their training doesn't work without drugs because they're not eating, maybe? Okay.
And realistically, no one ever had a problem getting really big doing athletic training. Okay, let's be realistic. The Average guy out there would probably reach his maximum drug-free muscular potential, not doing any current modern bodybuilding techniques at all. Literally just doing stuff like weighted body weight exercise.
Those things, they don't build your body, people. They break proteins down. You understand me? You're already in negative nitrogen balance as it is. The majority of people out there, 99%, man, okay? So don't be the percent that's going to drive themselves into the ground, like Blaha. He's crazy, man. Lifting weights deteriorates you faster than you're regenerating, because he's not regenerating. He doesn't eat. And this accelerates it because it's a window for protein breakdown every time you lift.
This is some heavy barbell work, dips, pull-ups.
You are in negative nitrogen balance.
Squats. And athletic stuff, just conditioning work, GPP, sprinting, jumping,
whatever.
Sled work.
Yeah, sled work, jumping, sprinting, that JPP. All those things open windows for protein breakdown. All of them will deteriorate you faster than you can regenerate.
Right? Weighted carries, stuff you see CrossFitters and other people doing who don't know what GBP and things are, right? The average guy would reach 100% of his possible drug-free size doing that.
Yeah.
They don't have to train with any of this bodybuilding stuff, because the point is, there's no need for it. And even their own evidence suggests that. A lot of them don't.
There's no need for it. He doesn't even know what bodybuilding is, what it's about. It's about regenerating muscle. That's all it is. Building myofibrillar growth. It has nothing to do with being an endurance athlete, sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, glycogen loading. Man, wow, God, my God, man.
Want to admit that. When they pull up and do these studies, and they say, well, tension is tension. Yeah, so that means a back squat works. If tension is tension, and that's what their studies always show, well, it turns out compound and isolation movements in the primary movers of the compound causes just as much muscle. Okay, except that you're doing a lot more work.
The compound movements cause just about as much muscle. He just said you can't build muscle without steroids, and it causes just about as much muscle. Hey, they don't cause muscle, bro. Get it? They don't build muscle. They fucking break muscle down. You fools. That's why Blaha says you can't get big without steroids, because none of you eat food, and you're going too often to the gym, breaking your body down instead of building it up.
Per exercise, you're training like 3, 4, 5 muscles. Okay?
Yeah.
But their own data shows it's just as good, but it gets a lot more done. Right. So it actually, what their own data, these people literally shows of even these evidence-based people,
yeah.
You don't have to have any of the machines or the isolation. You don't have to have any of it to maximize muscle growth. Really? And I'm not saying you can't do it.
Oh my God, here he is pushing the sled, yeah.
But you don't need it. But then we come to all the other stuff.
Go figure, man. He's crazy. It's Blaha for you.
Why do bodybuilders train that? Why do all these bodybuilders train this way? And everyone's like, oh yeah, because we want to isolate these muscles, but we know that that doesn't matter. Why?
That's not how they train. They do deadlifting, they do isolation, they do calisthenics. Bodybuilders, that's what they do. They do all of those things. But those things, what they do is they break your body down. So us bodybuilders, we want to stay in positive nitrogen balance all the time. So before we come in the gym, we eat a lot of protein before we work out. And after we work out, our workout, we eat a lot of protein. And then we only do it once a week. We don't come into the gym often. We're not lifting slaves. We're bodybuilders. We're not gym lifting slaves, bro.
Are they really training that way? Because they can't train like an athlete with the amount of drugs they use. They can't do the athletic stuff. They can't do a bunch of stuff moving their body through space. They're not pushing a sled down the street. They're not doing an AMRAP on back squats. Have you lost your mind?
They don't have to do any of that shit on steroids. It's cosmetic. It's fake. The look is fake, man. It's just a bunch of water sucked up in there. If you didn't eat before, what did you expect now? You're on steroids. You're not eating. You're lifting weights, and all of a sudden you're growing, right? Yeah. It's going to magically build muscles. Yeah, okay. Whatever.
Okay? They can't even breathe.
Yeah, well, don't eat carbohydrates on steroids and you'll be able to breathe.
Right? They can't even breathe. How are they going to do this stuff?
Yeah.
That's why this training has evolved. I think people need to literally understand that. It evolved by necessity. It evolved because of the amount of drugs guys do. They literally can't go do a lot of this other type of training. They can't do the more athletic training, stuff that works the whole body and gets you conditioned at the same time. They'll die in the middle of trying to do it. They'll spasm all over the floor and the back cramps and the hamstring cramps from the drugs.
He's looking really puffy again, isn't he? He's getting puffy again.
Side effects. They're full of so much oil and site enhancement they can't move.
He's probably disappearing to the point where he said to himself, fuck, I better start eating more carbs. Huh.
Let alone load some of these tissues that way, right? How many of them do I have to be wrapped up from head to toe to even lift any weight? Look how many of even these pro bodybuilders.
I don't know how many.
They can't even move.
Okay.
Okay, they have to work elbow wraps to do triceps and pressing. Yeah. Wow. Knee wraps to do machine stuff. Because their whole body is destroyed. And the side effects and all the site injection and everything else. Okay, this whole training style that everyone's following is evolved purely as out of necessity because of the side effects of all the drugs. That's it.
Okay.
And then you got natural dudes trying to imitate it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, I guess that was it for that video. Anyways, tell me what you think about that. Like, subscribe, support the channel. Blah, man. It's just ridiculous. It's all over the place. It looks like he's recycling this shit anyways. All right, friends, it's T-Man. We're back with another Blaha video. One more to end the night, broski. I'm going to do a reaction to this with this skinny arm sarcopenia Blaha. Look at him posing. This looks funny. Looks like a guy that's never lifted weights, pretend posing, whatever. Anyways, we're going to react to the gym lifting recruiting fitness gear slaves video. Jason Blaha says the internet creates false expectations of a good physique without drugs, lighting, and Photoshop. Okay, the internet creates false expectations of a good physique. I don't know what that has to do with lifting, creating a physique. Lifting is based on motor unit recruitment and androgen receptor for force production. Muscles are postmitotic. They do not divide. Yeah. Regardless whether you lift weights. If you lift weights, they're postmitotic. They do not divide. A muscle cell does not divide, neither does a nuclei. They do not divide. So if you think that because you lifted a weight, that's going to make it divide, then you have to go check yourself into a doctor's, to a psychiatrist. Get it, dude? Got a little bit booted there. So yeah, man, you need to check yourself into a psychiatrist if you think that, because that's just really ridiculous to think that. That's why I say muscles are postmitotic. They do not split, divide, increase in number. You're wasting your time. That's the physique thing. That's not even based on bodybuilding, powerlifting, or calisthenics. But it is a byproduct of your doing that. Whatever you're doing there, there's a byproduct. You could say there's something physique. The reason why your physique is so poor is because you're domesticated. You don't want to eat your raw animal diet. You want to eat slave food diet. That's why your physique looks the way it does, like shit. So that's why everybody's panting and crying and screaming, because they're all domesticated animals. All the humans are domesticated. Their physiques looks like shit. See what I mean? They'll only look good if you go back on your natural diet. And even your faces are ugly. Your faces are ugly and they're not attractive because the slave food diet. Get it, dude? And accumulation of more slave food diet and DNA damage and whatever to your face and everything from due to domestication, and it's catching up with us more and more now.
Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here with Jason Blaha Strength and Fitness, and today I thought I would chat with you guys and gals a little bit about a big problem that we do have that the online world creates. But a quick reminder, if you guys will please click like down below, the video, would appreciate it so much. Let's get over to the topic. You know, we get into this situation to where the internet has created extremely unrealistic physique standards for people. And again, I'm a strength guy, not a physique guy.
I love this. It's created unrealistic physique. No, it hasn't. It really hasn't. The problem is you don't want to stop eating the slave food diet. That's the problem. If you ate your natural diet, your physique would be the way it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? But if you're talking about you competing with somebody taking steroids, and the appearance appears that it's undomesticated, well, it's really fake because they're using a drug. It's temporary, it's fake, it's cosmetic. Providing they take that drug, they can maintain that look. Once the drug is not administered anymore, the fake look goes away because it's fake. I mean, that's why you see The Rock, The Rock comes on, and Batista and The Rock, they're all in Hollywood now off their steroids. And what do they look like? Ordinary domesticated humans. Yeah, that's what they look like. Ordinary people walking around. Because they're ordinary. They took the steroids, they thought it made them look extraordinary. It did, gave them that extraordinary look, but it was artificial, it was fake. Muscles are postmitotic. They do not divide. They do not increase in number. You can't build muscle because you lifted a weight. Weights don't build muscles. Get it, bro? Weights don't build muscles. So when Blaha tells you weight builds muscles, muscles are postmitotic. Tell him muscles are postmitotic, Blaha. Shame on you. Smack in the head. Get it, dude?
Again, I have decades in this game. I'm 48, almost 49. I've been in this a really long time, and I know plenty of guys out.
And he knows nothing about what builds muscle or anything. He doesn't know anything about bodybuilding or anything fucking, which is incredible. Wow.
Out there with phenomenal physiques know what they really do.
With phenomenal physiques. Look at his physique. They look phenomenal to you? Does he look like he knows what he's doing to create a phenomenal physique? So me, I'm 10 years older than him. I have a good physique. My physique is a good physique because I've honed that physique because I've eaten meat almost my entire life. Now, I'm not saying I haven't eaten some slave food diet, for sure I have. That could have created some problems with my physique, definitely. But I didn't completely destroy my physique on slave food diet like him. And his ancestors, they all ate slave food diets. That's why look at the way he looks, it's caught up to him. But whatever. The point is, if you eat your natural food, natural carnivore diet, which he says is crazy to be carnivore, which is insane to say that, because eating natural food in their natural state is insane. Well, if it's insane, then don't eat it, and then you'll look like Blaha. But if you don't want to look like Blaha and have an amazing physique, eat raw natural animal products. That's it. Really, it's really simple.
And the fact of the matter is, we have a situation to where when someone actually is really and truly a natural guy who doesn't have great lighting, and we've seen this a number of times, and I've seen like.
Yeah, I mean, lighting could help, but that's just, you're doing something fake then. The lighting and mirrors and standing there and, photography, whatever. Maybe even altering your pictures. I don't know.
Ben Carpenter, I think, talk about some of it, put people up. We're like, this guy's got great physique.
We're looking for 500.
Carpenter, I think, talk about some of it, put people up. We're like, this guy's got great physique. Some of these other people are like, these are great natural physiques. This guy's got 15 years of hard work over here. But they don't meet.
15 years of hard work to have a great physique? Because you can't stop eating slave food diet? What would create a great physique in a very short period of time? If you ate raw animal products, just like the looks maxing community. The moment those guys start eating raw animal products, bang, they change rapidly. So what would change your physique to make it look really dynamic, really good? Raw animal products, just like the looks maxing community. There you go. How hard is that? How hard is that to accomplish? How hard is it to understand or accomplish? Eating raw animal products. So it's going to create that amazing physique, see? Yeah. Now Blaha, he refuses to eat a his natural diet, raw carnivore natural diet. He refuses to do that. And on top of it, he says you're crazy if you do that. So you're crazy for eating a raw natural animal diet, which will make your physique look amazing and you be healthy and strong and be healthy, strong and amazing looking. So you must be crazy. Why? Because you must be crazy because if you eat it, you'll look better than Blaha. Get it? That's why you'll be crazy. See what I mean? Yeah. Now, vegan people, they definitely are crazy. I would agree about that one. For sure, they're crazy. They're nuts. You understand me? But Blaha, I don't know. He likes eating what they eat. He eats vegan diets and he eats meat, but his meat is processed, it's cooked. That's why he looks the way he does. You're eating the broken parts of the DNA. It's fucking you up. So he's a totally domesticated animal because he can't stop eating slave food. He eats more slave food than he eats animal products, and any animal products he eats are really putrid animals, like chicken full of they're filled with like hormones, antibiotics and shit. They're most abused animal, chicken, bro. He can only afford to eat chicken. That's why he's always pushing chicken, rice, and broccoli. So chicken full of hormones, antibiotics, and other garbage, and they probably ate garbage too. And it's so processed because he cooked the shit out of it. Then the rice is cooked as well, so the glycemic index is fucking through the roof, and there's arsenic in there. And then you have broccoli, which has sulforaphane and oxalates and a bunch of other shit in their toxins, and it's sprayed with glyphosate and other toxins, and so is the rice. So they're all sprayed and shit and everything. There's just poison, man. So what did you expect to get a nice looking physique eating that slave food? That peasant slave food. How can that give you a nice looking physique? Give me a break, man. Only food can give you a nice physique. Weights cannot create a beautiful physique. They don't do anything. They don't build muscle. They don't create physiques lifting weights. You have to be mentally disturbed and mentally sick in the head to believe that lifting weights somehow are going to change your physique. They do not change your physique. Everything is in your diet. That's why you're starving yourself. That's why you're eating this kind of food, that kind of food, doing all these weird things.
Anywhere near the standards of what some influencers, sometimes 3 years of experience, have surpassed. But what they're not understanding is these physiques you're seeing online from these influencers
are fake.
They're generally not.
They're fake. That's what you're seeing online. They're fake. They faked it to make it because they couldn't make it. Alex Leonidas, everybody, they faked it. I'm still wondering about Omar Izov. I knew he was natural. He doesn't have a great physique. He looks okay. He's young. He looked okay. But he didn't look anything like somebody taking roids or anything. I wonder why he disappeared. Maybe he just gave up. I don't know. Maybe he died. Who the hell knows? Maybe took the COVID shot. It's dead. I'm really not sure. Like Max Strasny, why did he disappear? What happened to him? Maybe he died. Maybe he got the shot and died too. I don't fucking know, man, what happened to these people. I just have a feeling they dropped off because it wasn't working for them. Lifting away, they got tired of being a slave, lifting away. Maybe they saw my slave videos. They watched my slave videos. They said, you know what? I don't want to be a slave no more. That's what happened, because they took one look at Blaha and my slave video, and they said, if that's what I'm going to look like being a slave, then I don't want any part to do with that.
Not only on drugs, right? It's lighting.
He's always talking. First thing, he said drugs. That's all he ever talks about, drugs. That's a healthy lifestyle. That's bodybuilding, drugs, right? Bodybuilding is not about taking drugs or anything. That's cosmetic people. Those are stupid people doing that.
Photoshop, it's a pump. They've oftentimes peaked for that. Let's keep that in mind. Most of these...
It's a pump. They're pumping their muscles up because it's fake.
These guys are not shirtless every week on camera. Right? Let that sink in for a minute. These aren't dudes who are running around doing their stuff every day. Like, if you guys watch me, I'm pretty much have no shirt on in all my workouts year round. I vlog.
He vlogs with his shirt off all year round. Now, you look terrible without your shirt on, man. You look better with a shirt on. Wow, terrible physique to look at. It's hurting my eyes all the time. I have to look at you. That damn ugly physique. Shit, bro. It's disgusting. It's gross.
Every single training session.
It smells, even from here, I can smell the Ben Gay right out of the screen, bro. He puts Ben Gay all over himself. Smells like Ben Gay in the fucking garage. The garage smells like Ben Gay and farts. Smells like cooties and farts in there and Ben Gay.
This is just what I look like. These guys don't look like oftentimes what you're seeing. They've peaked sometimes for that. Perfect gym lighting. My God, some of them are shaved and oiled up with a fake tan for the shirtless video they're doing.
Why don't you do some of that, Blah? Shave and put some oil on. Put a fake tan. You know, Blah was shaved before, eh? He was shaving his legs and his chest. He thought it would, then he decided to grow it on camera, and then it was starting to stick out again, the hair. But I think he shaved it again. His legs look like they're shaved, eh? Look at that. He shaved the legs again. He shaved his fucking chest. And for all we know, he shaved his nuts, dude.
Okay? You factor in all the Photoshop. I see that a lot. We see Photoshop, we see AI. You know, these are guys selling the physique, and the people say, well, that's normal. I mean, it's why wouldn't you do that? Because it was false advertising. Like, if you're marketing, you know, the stuff you're doing as selling a program or whatever results in, you're photoshopping everything and all these filters and all this stuff. It's like, guys, this is not real. But I think the problem is that people then get these ideas in their heads that because this guy claims natural, who's on Pren and Mast and growth hormone and everything else, right? He's on all this stuff. Sometimes they're on 5-6 different drugs. And they do stuff to get ripped. They use all sorts of stuff to...
Oh, I lift that a couple of times. That's 500 pounds there. Now, I don't know if those are all real weights, but if they are, well, he lifted them for a couple of reps.
Suppress their appetite. I mean, I don't think people understand when you talk to some of these people in photo shoots or contests or anything, the drugs they even take to suppress their appetite. They're eating nicotine and all sorts of other stuff, you know, just to control the appetite so they can get that lean. So it's not sustainable for them. That's the point you have to understand with what a lot of they're doing. If they literally have to chew nicotine gum every day and take Clen every day just to get that lean and control the appetite, and to keep the binging under control and everything else, this is not sustainable for them. So if it's not sustainable for them, and they know how to get there, what makes you think that you're going to look like that?
I don't
know. They can't even look like that.
I don't know.
Okay? And I think people lose lose sight of that when they're looking at this. But they've been, you know, told that this physique over here, this is obtainable, but it's like the guy's on lots of drugs. And I'm not even against necessarily guys doing that. Look, if someone wants to do drugs, they can go do drugs. This is their business.
Okay. Okay.
To do drugs, they can go do drugs. This is their business. That's a personal choice. I don't have a problem with people making personal life choices. Yeah. But are they advertising it and marketing it?
I don't know, are they?
You know, and then they're throwing the natural tag on there too. It's like, come on, guys. And all these people think that they're going to obtain this.
Well, they're trying to sell a program. Why wouldn't they tell you they're natural when they're unnatural? That's the idea. They are natural, naturally artificial. Get it? They are natural. When they said natural, they meant naturally artificial. But blah took it as them being natural.
And they're not. They're not. You know, and it's not just...
I like how I said, but they're not. They're not. All of you are fake. I just told you in my videos, 99% of people are building sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. They're hypertrophying through the sarcoplasm because they're adapted to their exercises. Not only adapted, but bro, muscles are post-mitotic. They do not divide just because you're lifting weights. Lifting a weight doesn't grow a muscle. Get it? Protein helps repair and remodel muscles, but that's only if a muscle has been injured. You have to cause injuries to muscles for them to go through remodeling. Yeah. That's the only way you're gonna grow a muscle, and that's not based on lifting every day in the gym. It can't happen. It can't happen every day or every other day or whatever. It just doesn't happen like that. I'm sorry.
The drugs, it's all the...
I'm sorry to break all your bubbles. The drugs, it's the drugs. Look at this second-rate physique he has. Second-rate, broski. I'm telling you. What the fuck is this? It's fucking second-rate, dude.
Other stuff.
Whoa, now he pumped his chest out. See that? He pumped up. See, he was like that normal, then he went because he knows he's coming towards the camera. Look.
Plenty of guys use like...
See that? That's the worst physique I've ever seen on anybody. It's distorted, dude. Flat chest, flat shoulders, flat arms, small arms. He looks like he's actually atrophying, which is really weird. If you're on steroids, and even if you're eating, and you're eating as well, why does he have an atrophied look? Why does he look like he's atrophied? I guess because the running, the lifting, and he's suffering from he's got a nutritional deficiency because he refuses to eat natural animal products. He eats everything processed. Everything's processed, and there's a lot of plants in there. Some fake plants and fake milk called avocado milk and stuff, and all this fake shit. Yeah, man. I mean, it's just completely diminished. That physique is gone. It's diminished. It's just give up, man. Blah. Just, you know what? Buy an expensive car, like the most expensive car with the last of your money that you have, and just fucking crash that car and kill yourself, man. At least you went out in style in a nice sports car or something. You can lease it and trick them. Tell them you'll bring it back and just crash it and die.
Gear who might be pretty big, who still don't look anything like that. So then you have the issue of Photoshop, lighting.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Photoshop lighting. Yeah. Okay.
Pump. Do you see how crazy this gets? Real
pump.
Quick.
Even Law admitted to it. The pump, man. It's fake muscles, bro. Even the natties are fake, and so are the fake natties, bro. They're all fake. They just, so you know the funny part? They just don't realize it. They're all fake, but they just don't realize that muscles are post-mitotic. Steroids, they don't build muscles. You get it? And neither do weights. They don't build muscles. So you go to gym lifting, you're not building any muscles. Get it? See what I mean? Fucking man. I guess people are out to lunch there.
To be clear, you know, people are like thinking then that this is some obtainable look, or it's like, oh, they've obtained it through their knowledge, but they don't really look like that. And so let's set that aside. A lot of times they don't even look like that. It's not even an issue.
I love that one. Even Arnold doesn't look like Arnold without his steroids. He looks like what? I don't know. Oofy doofy.
Do they know how to get there with the drugs and the training?
I think Arnold, even Arnold has destroyed his facial features in his head. He's destroyed it. Yeah, slave food diet.
Right? That would even be different because then some say, okay, well their training and nutrition knowledge is good enough, and then if they have these drugs, then they still know how to do all of it, right? They know how to actually look like that, but they don't actually look like that, not in person. And I think anyone who's been to events and expos gets a feeling for this real quick, right? You start to realize these guys are not as big as you think they are. They're not as jacked as you think they are, even in person. Okay? They still don't look like that. They only look like that in the photo or the video. Once it's been touched up, a little AI, some Photoshop. Again, perfect lighting, right? You get in that perfect down lighting. Just the right angles.
That perfect down lighting. Sorry, I think the thing flipped over. That perfect down lighting. Look at Blaha and the perfect down lighting. What's he look like to you? Looks like he's been getting some sun, eh? Mostly on the chest area and the head. Yeah. I don't know. He just looks weird, man. Look at him. So unattractive. Only a face a mother could love, and even his mother stopped loving him. That just must break his heart. They have abandoned him. His own family has abandoned him.
Okay. They can look dramatically different. They didn't look like that.
Did you see him from behind? He looks so funny, bro. Oh my God. What is this?
Into the room. So here's the problem we have.
Here's the problem we have. Look at the boob shake. You see the boob shaking?
People can understand the problem. This is now the standard that people are trying to ascribe to, right? This is the standard that they're trying to ascribe to because they now believe that, you know, this is obtainable. Like, well, they did it, but they don't look like that.
They don't look like that? It seems like they look like that in their videos. I don't know. Do they?
See the problem? It's not even obtainable.
Yeah, but we see them in their videos walking around, moving around. So they look like that, yeah. Whatever that is, that cosmetic look, I don't know.
For them.
Look, man, why do you think all these people are selling you a dream, a pipe dream? You have like Greg Doucette selling you Turk Builder, VO2 Max, these powders, the anabolic cookbook. He's got all these training programs, everything. But muscles are post-mitotic. They do not divide. They don't build. They don't split. They don't divide. There's no growth there. There's zero growth. Get it, man? Muscles don't divide. So. What exactly? Muscles have a myonuclear domain limit, too. They have a myonuclear domain limit. Now, they don't divide. So, what is Turk Builder gonna do? What are steroids gonna do? What are these modulators gonna do? What is creatine gonna do exactly? What are they gonna do exactly? How are they gonna build muscle? See what I mean? Now, if you want to build myofibrillars, okay. So that's based on contractile proteins. But here's the thing. These modulators and steroids and terkestrons and things and creatines, they do not injure your muscles for you. You have to injure them. You have to injure them. And if you don't like it, don't do it. I always say, if you don't like it, don't do it. But that's the only way those muscles are going to build through contractile proteins. The only way they're going to build is if they're injured. That's how you build myofibrillar growth. And if protein synthesis outpaces protein breakdown. Now, if it's sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, non-contractile proteins, organelles, and all this garbage, you know, soup, well, you go ahead and do that because 99% of the people are doing that with their high-volume training. High-volume training means that you're coming in frequently to the gym, but you think you're building muscle. You're like, but I'm building muscle. No, muscles are post-mitotic. You aren't building muscles. But you are increasing the size of the sarcoplasm. See what I mean? That is, you could say that is the aesthetic look. That's the aesthetic look where you guys are all hawked up over aesthetics, like Blaha here. Increasing the sarcoplasm, increasing these phony muscles, artificial muscles, non-contractile proteins. That's not associated with strength, any strength. That's why people think that when people that go to the gym and they're building muscle, which they're not, because it's post-mitotic, they're building sarcoplasmic muscle, they're like, oh, they're not strong. You aren't strong. You're big, but you're not strong because you're really fat. You're just big and fat. But people think, well, with these big muscles, they're not strong. Yeah, but you're not building myofibular growth. Get it? You're not building any muscle fibers because muscles, they are post-mitotic. They do not split. But you can build, what do you call it? Myofibular growth. But none of you know how to. See what I mean? None of you are doing it, nor do you know how to do it. See what I mean? That's the difference. Yeah.
If they can't look like that without the Photoshop,
oh yeah,
and the lighting and the editing,
okay, Blaha,
then you're not going to look like that. Even following their advice, they can't even do it.
You're not going to look like that. If they eat raw animal products, right, and they look good and they look like that, you know what I mean? But they don't even look like that. You mean they don't look like that eating those raw animal products, blah, on those channels? They look like they're eating it. They look to me like they look like that's what's creating it. It doesn't look like the lighting to me or anything like that. I see them on videos, bro. They're walking around. They're in the down lighting. They look amazing. So what are you talking about? Weights don't change your body. Lifting weights won't change what you look like. Won't change the domestication. It won't reverse poor genetics. It won't do anything, weights. Weights will age you, break down proteins and age the fuck out of you. That's what you're doing in the gym. Why are you just aging yourself lifting weights in the gym, breaking down proteins? I'll tell you why. Because muscles are post-mitotic. Get it? They do not divide. Lifting weights. Get it, dude? Lifting weights does not cause muscle fibers to divide. Muscle cells to divide. They don't divide. No matter how hard you lift those weights. Get it, dude? They're not going to divide. They're post-mitotic. So you're all wasting your time going to a gym. You're chasing something elusive. You're wasting your time. Science will corroborate everything I say. Muscles are post-mitotic.
Again, the issue is in this becomes before long people
I can even show you a report. I had it on my old channel. It said muscles post-mitotic, whatever. What people are really getting, it says these bodybuilders, these lifters and people and all these genres, the majority of what they're getting is sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. Now, there are some people, they get some myofibular growth, but they're not getting a lot because some get it by accident. You could say the calisthenics guy, because the calisthenics guys, they get a lot of myofibular growth because there's a lot of stretching going on there. There's a lot of stuff going on there. It's crazy though, you know. That isn't powerlifting and that's not bodybuilding. But bodybuilding, we do calisthenics, we do all of them. So there you go.
To think that this is realistic, and it's not, guys.
Are you struggling to...
It's not realistic, and those physiques might not...
See, if I can find the exercise that I have to do the least easiest and the least amount of stress, but I could do enough work to get the muscle to damage and injure, and I can get it to come back bigger and stronger, then eventually I'll go to those exercises that were really stressful for me. Like, you know, squatting is really stressful, you know. That's why they have the leg press machines. They have these leg press and hack squats. Hack squats tend to be easier relieves the stress. You don't want to do exercises that are astronomically too stressful. So you want to focus on the easiest exercises that will create the most damage. That's easy and creates the most damage. And that would be eccentric exercise. Eccentric is easier to do, right? It goes with gravity. The weight goes always with gravity. It's pulling on your muscles. It's going with gravity. That is the easiest. You can always lift much heavier eccentrically than you could concentrically. And you get the most amount of damage in those muscles. See? And so you have the ability to create the most amount of myofibrillar growth, providing protein synthesis outpaces protein breakdown. So intelligent people, that's what they do. That's how they operate. And then they build more myofibrillar growth, giving them super strength. Get it? That's the idea. So think about it. If I build more myofibrillar growth using all these other exercises, right? So let's say I don't do deadlifts. I don't do deadlifts or OHP or anything. But I do other exercises to damage the muscle fiber to get it to grow more contractile proteins. So if I grow more contractile proteins, what will happen if I go somewhere and I'm really big now, I gain like 50 pounds of muscle? What will happen if I OHP, if I do an OHP, like, will I be able to lift it really heavy? Of course I will. Now here's another question. Now that I built all my body's built up with myofibrillar growth, right? What will happen? Can I squat? Even though I never squatted before, will I be able to squat a heavy weight? Of course I will, because I have more muscle, have more myofibrillar, I have more contractile proteins to contract. They'll contract to lift more weight. See what I mean? I can recruit more motor units, androgen receptors, force production, and more of these contractile proteins. There's more there available. See what I mean? Yeah. So that is what's going to make you strong. You don't have to stick to all these type of exercise. Like I have to stay there with this one exercise or this or that. No. In muscle damage, anything that damages your muscle will get it to come back bigger and stronger because it has to. That's the adaptation process. It doesn't matter whether you did this particular exercise for that muscle group or that one. Maybe that one was easier and that one was a lot harder, but you did the easy one. See what I mean? The most important thing is for it to damage and for it to come back bigger and stronger. That's all. Who cares? Who gives a shit about the rest? It's meaningless.
And even be attractive to other people. Like, so people are thinking they're going to do it for whatever. And I get it if you're going to go compete in bodybuilding. Okay. Hey, that's fine.
That's why these crazy,
but are you doing
these crazy people, these bodybuilders think they know what they're doing. They're trying. But you get these crazy people saying, well, bodybuilders are weak. They're not weak. They're strong. If they're building myofibrillar growth, they're strong. But I don't know what they're doing there if they're adapted, because muscles are postmitotic. Get it? So it may be sarcoplasmic training, like Blaha's training.
Because you want to look impressive or attractive.
This is high volume training, and everybody knows in NCBI, the people that came in 6 weeks, what was it, myofibrillar hypertrophy, in 6 weeks, high volume resistance training and trained young men was a result of? It was sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. The majority of their growth was what? Sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. What was the other growth? What was myofiber? What was the myofiber? In the beginning, probably, I don't know. And then it ceased, it went away. And then it becomes sarcoplasmic hypertrophy because muscles are postmitotic. Get it? And these new contractile proteins that you got in the beginning, you call newbie gains, they're also protecting muscle from growing. So postmitotic muscles, the fact that they don't split, that's a protection so they don't keep growing if you were to lift something. And then the sarcomeres in series, when you get them in series and in parallel, when you get them in the beginning, you get much less damage as you come in. Why are you getting less damage? Well, because they're protecting the deeper, weaker muscle fibers from getting damaged, from growing any more myofibrillar growth. Yeah. See, muscles, that's why some people, they know on my channel, they know muscles, they're not made, they don't want to grow. They don't want to build. They don't want to build muscles. Your body doesn't want that. It even prevents you from doing that. See what I mean? You're not a bear. You're not an animal out in nature. How their muscles grow and operate are not the same as your muscles and how they grow and operate. See what I mean?
Other people? Well, then you're going down the wrong route, right? Especially
why do you think people opt to fake it? People opt faking it, sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, the fake natties, and the natties and the fake natties, both faking it sarcoplasmic-y. Now, you're just not eating enough to create the sarcoplasmic, this effect. You're just not doing it properly. Number two, steroid people are not building muscles. They're just increasing the sarcoplasm. So these other people are so jealous of them. So all these crazy natties and fake natties, they're all fighting against each other. They're like, well, they're a fake natty because they took some they took something to create that look. Yeah, but you could create that look too, providing you put the effort in and eating glycogen. More glycogen, you get that look. Get it? Yeah. And I don't know about the leanness. That's something you're gonna have to do to get your to lose body fat. You're gonna have to do that. Whatever. You get the idea, man. That's all these people are fake. The natties are fake, and so are the fake natties. It's all stupid. It's just garbage.
Ultra shredded, shrink wrapped look. That's not good look, right?
Shrink wrap look? What? Yeah, okay.
Well, then you're going down the wrong route.
Okay.
Right? Especially that ultra shredded, shrink wrapped look. That's not considered attractive to most people. Like you aren't having.
That's considered attractive to women. They like low body fat, but not to the point where it's so low that you're looking disgusting like I am longevity.
People look at that and go, wow, they look really good. And now they're going to be like, that looks kind of freakish. Doesn't look healthy, doesn't look right. But keep in mind, they don't look like, you're not going to look like that either. But guys will get obsessed with it, to the point where they're losing muscle. And I'll see guys who do that. They want to get so shredded. I'm like, okay, are you doing it for an event? These are not sustainable, realistic things. If you're doing it for an event or a photo shoot, I get it. Okay, right? You want that photo shoot to go well. You want these pictures to have for your stuff. By all means.
Why does Blaha really care about any of this?
Okay.
We already know the influencers are fake. People aren't stupid, dude. Not that dumb, I guess. They are dumb, but they're not that dumb, I think.
So they're using that for.
And again, I could be wrong because Blaha's it's got the lowest IQ on the planet as far as I know. He says he has the highest, but people who say they have the highest IQ usually have the lowest. See what I mean?
And they're marketing for their personal training. It's like, we're back over to these bad tactics. But it creates unrealistic standards. I get it if you're about to do a bodybuilding show, okay? But if you're not doing those things, people are trying to get to these standards that are not, you're doing it for one thing to have, you're going to spend 6 months of your life peaking for one day at the beach, where you're not going to feel good. Like you're not going to be performing optimally. You probably need to be careful out there in the heat, sweating, dehydrated like that. You're going to get hurt. You could die when you're that emaciated. So they don't understand that though. But it's created an unrealistic standard of what a good physique is, of what looks impressive. The average person you don't need to look anywhere near, not even anywhere near how these guys look for the average person to say, wow, you look really good, and to give you compliments. And we've lost sight of that because of the internet. We've lost sight of what people look like in the real world who actually work out. And definitely lost sight of what's obtainable.
Okay, man.
Without drugs. And the internet has caused this with all the fake natties. And it's just a very unfortunate set of events. But people need to put it into context. They need a context for it. Because it's not reality.
Yes, they need a context. It is not reality. Blaha lives in a fantasy world, not reality. He lives in his own world called Blaha World, Blaha's World. I'll see you in the next one, friends. So what you think about that? Like, subscribe, support the channel. Ciao, friends.